Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down a major development in U.S. foreign policy that's drawing global attention. Donald Trump has announced that the United States will be withdrawing from UNESCO. That's the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Why is this important? Well, UNESCO is a major global body that influences education, science, culture, and communication across the world. And according to Trump and his team, it's gone too far in promoting ideologies and policies that directly conflict with American values and national interests. So what's behind this decision? Let's take a closer look. Background: why UNESCO matters. UNESCO was established after World War II with a mission to promote peace and collaboration through education, science, and culture. On the surface, that might sound uncontroversial, but over the years, the organization has increasingly become involved in social justice initiatives, political commentary, and global standard setting on topics like race, gender, and history. For many countries, this has been welcome, but for critics, including U.S. leaders like Trump, it's viewed as overreach and ideological bias. Let's remember, this isn't the first time the U.S. has pulled out of UNESCO. Back in 1983, President Ronald Reagan withdrew American membership, citing concerns that the organization had become overly politicized, anti-Western, and hostile to democratic values like freedom of the press and free market principles. Fast forward to 2017, Trump made the same move again during his first term, citing UNESCO's consistent anti-Israel bias and the promotion of narratives that undermine American allies. Now, in 2025, Trump is doubling down, and this time with an even broader critique: the review that led to withdrawal. Earlier this year, in February, Trump ordered a 90-day formal review of the U.S. presence in UNESCO. The goal was to assess whether the organization aligns with U.S. interests, especially in relation to Israel and global cultural policy. The review focused heavily on identifying what the administration calls anti-Semitism and anti-Israel sentiment within the organization. But it went even further. The Trump administration also scrutinized UNESCO's diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, or DEI, claiming these initiatives promote a woke agenda that's divisive, radical, and far from what Americans actually support. Following that internal review, a senior White House official told the New York Post that the administration found multiple red flags, particularly in programs that encourage governments to adopt sweeping anti-racism policies and rethink traditional gender roles. UNESCO initiatives under fire. Among the most controversial programs was UNESCO 2023 Anti-Racism Toolkit, which urged member states to adopt national policies combating systemic racism, conduct historical audits of colonialism and discrimination, and compete in what it called a race to the top to become global leaders in social justice. Critics in the Trump camp argue that this kind of language fosters guilt-based policymaking, encourages identity politics, and oversteps the boundaries of what international organizations should be involved in. Another initiative drawing criticism is UNESCO's 2024 Transforming Mentalities campaign, a global gender reform effort aimed at reshaping how men think about masculinity, gender roles, and equality. A report from the campaign focused on UNESCO's efforts in India, where the organization has been pushing to challenge harmful gender norms through education and media, including efforts to reshape male behavior through schools, community outreach, and even video games. Yes, UNESCO also published a study exploring how video games could promote gender equality and challenge stereotypes. The idea, according to Gabriela Ramos, UNESCO's Assistant Director General for Social and Human Sciences, is to go beyond limiting harmful content and actively use gaming as a platform for cultural transformation. While progressive activists may praise these efforts, the Trump administration views them as ideological indoctrination disguised as cultural policy. The Israel-Palestine issue. Another major reason for the U.S. exit: what Trump officials describe as UNESCO's long-standing anti-Israel bias. According to administration sources, the organization has used its executive board to push through resolutions that favor Palestinian narratives while undermining Israel's historical and religious claims. One example cited was UNESCO's designation of Jewish holy sites as Palestinian World Heritage locations, a move that infuriated Israeli officials and drew bipartisan concern in the U.S. UNESCO documents also refer to parts of Israel as occupied Palestinian territory, while rarely condemning violence from terror groups like Hamas. Trump's team argues that this one-sided framing betrays UNESCO's supposed neutrality and shows clear bias. China's rising influence. The Trump administration is also deeply concerned about China's growing influence inside UNESCO. Beijing is currently the organization's second-largest financial contributor, and Chinese nationals now hold several top leadership roles, including Deputy Director General Xing Kuo. According to a White House source, China is using its funding power to push favorable narratives, including attempts to downplay the persecution of Uyghur Muslims and other ethnic minorities within Chinese borders. The concern is that China is shaping global education and cultural policy to sanitize its own image, and UNESCO, willingly or not, is allowing it. This fits into a broader theme in Trump's foreign policy, pushing back against Chinese influence in international bodies, whether it's the WHO, the UN Human Rights Council, or now UNESCO. America First policy reaffirmed. In a statement, White House Deputy Spokesperson Anna Kelly emphasized that the move to exit UNESCO is a reaffirmation of Trump's America First agenda. This president will always put America first and ensure our country's membership in all international organizations aligns with our national interests, Kelly said. From Trump's perspective, organizations like UNESCO should not be shaping domestic policy in America, especially not on race, gender, or national history. And when these organizations promote anti-Israel language or serve as platforms for Chinese propaganda, Trump says the U.S. has no obligation to stay involved. Historical context and final thoughts. Again, this isn't new. The United States has had a rocky relationship with UNESCO for decades. Beyond Reagan and Trump, concerns about politicization, bureaucracy, and budgetary mismanagement have existed for years. But this latest withdrawal sends a strong message. Under Trump, the U.S. won't support international bodies that, in his view, undermine core values, alienate key allies, or promote ideologies not supported by the American public. Whether you agree or disagree, it's a bold and very intentional step that reinforces Trump's broader worldview, one focused on sovereignty, national identity, and skepticism of multilateral institutions. To get a better sense of how the public responded to this topic, let's take a look at some of the viewer comments. Lifelong English major shared a nostalgic note. How great! I haven't heard anything positive since UNESCO since I collected pennies for them at Halloween as a kid 60 years ago. BR replied with a gentle correction. That was UNICEF, little orange box, different UN organization, but I still think it's a good idea to withdraw. Christopher Smith expressed a critical viewpoint. UNESCO is unfortunately another organization using social justice warrior language to cover its own racist and bigoted activities. On its face, it was organized for a very good apolitical purpose, but has become little more than a political tool to often spread blatantly naked propaganda. Transforming America agreed and expanded. Agreed. And working to ensure equity should mean that if a person has the ability to compete with great skills, they should be considered regardless of race or gender. What it should not mean is, solely on the basis of race or gender and not skill level, you get a position. Frank Black praised the administration's decision. Excellent move by President Trump. I am so proud of this president. To which Serial Mom added a more tongue-in-cheek take. He just ratcheted the TDS by a notch. It's going to be afterglow watching AOC and the moose from The View have a meltdown. So what's your take? Do you agree with Trump's decision to pull the U.S. out of UNESCO? Is the organization promoting positive global change or pushing an agenda that's out of touch with American values? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future updates. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay sharp, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.